So welcome to the latest episode of Gallifrey Pirate Radio. This is episode 144. That's for you, Drew. And I am coming at you live, sort of, from GnomeCon 2014. My first year here. It's very exciting. We have an audience of people, which is awesome because you never know. First day panel, 5 o'clock. People gaming like crazy. But I am doing a very special panel. I have three lovely ladies with me this time, and we're going to delve into why they like Doctor Who, what attracts them to the show, how they came to the show, and stuff like that. So this is sort of my mini Verity panel that Paul Cornell has. So starting to my right, my left, I think that's right. Yeah, right. With the lady in the fez.
My name is Maya Chrysler, and I don't think I can pick a favorite Doctor. It just can't be done. Two, okay. If I had to pick two, maybe a tie between 10 and 3.
10 and 3, really? Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And you can say a little bit about yourself too, so they know where you're coming from.
Oh.
With, your background for fandom in general.
Well, when I was 12, my best friend dragged me off to StellarCon 18, and then I joined CAG, and I've been doing cons ever since then.
Can I be really, what is CAG?
Klingon Assault Group.
Oh, okay. yeah. So now I know what that is. Yes, now I know what that is. Okay.
Could speak Klingon.
Yeah. Those are the people that were in the con, and we say, you find them if you have problems.
Yeah. Some of them are security this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We like Brandon, obviously. If they saw me on the last podcast I was in, they know I love Brandon.
Yes.
So is it my turn?
It is your turn.
I'm Patricia Lightfoot, and I got dragged into fandom because my mom is a original Trek fan and made me watch it from the time that I was very little, and also weird things like Christopher Lee Dracula movies and things like that. So I've always been into very weird stuff. And for me, it'd be number 7.
And she's also the assistant director.
That's right, assistant track director. You weren't trying to give me a promotion this time.
Yes.
Kaleidoscope track at Dragon.
Yes.
Kaleidoscope.
Yes. One of my favorite tracks.
Now I'm on the shopping block. Hi.
Yes.
I am Bianca Burry. My favorite Doctor. Again, I've got a top 2: the 2nd Doctor and the 7th Doctor.
You're a Sylvester McCoy fan.
I've been in fandom. Well, I didn't start attending cons until 2001. But before then, I started writing fan fiction since I was 15. And I don't know, I've just been kind of around, just sort of wandering fandom to fandom, from river to dell.
Like you do.
Like you do. Yeah. I've cosplayed I've cosplayed the 2nd Doctor and Jamie McCrimmon for the Dragon Con parade.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, for like the past couple of years, I think. Yeah, since 2001. So it was just, and the reason I went to Dragon Con in the first place was because Fraser Hines was there.
I remember that year.
Yes.
I remember that year well. It was cool meeting Fraser and talking to him.
Yes.
So we're going to actually start with you at the very, very end down there, because I have not talked to you much about Doctor Who. You're the new person in Doctor Who with me. How did you first get exposed to Doctor Who?
I was either 7 or 8. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. I was supposed to be in bed, but I wasn't. I think my older sister was watching Doctor Who, and it wasn't until 2005 that I knew what the story was. But now I know. Now I know that it was my very first story was the Horns of Nymon. Only reason that I remember it was there was a shot of a building which was square, and then it had 2 antennae that looked like horns, and it looked really stupid, and it was just kind of like, what the heck is that? And then there was another scene where the Doctor and a whole bunch of people, like a D&D dungeon party, are like walking through this. It's like the walls were like brown and yellow. I haven't watched the Horns of Nymon since then, so I don't even know if I'm remembering it correctly. But basically, they're walking through, and then this one guy's like, I can't take it anymore, and he starts screaming, and then he runs back the way they came, and then he starts screaming again, and everyone's like, whoa, what's going on? And so they go after him, and then he's like, the way back closed, we can't get out, and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that would have been like a cliffhanger in the original cut, but we got the ones where it was like all 4 episodes were cut into one like mini movie, and it was aired at like 1 o'clock in the morning or something, and it was just like, yeah.
Do you remember what channel that was on?
For us, it was Columbia, Maryland. I believe it would have been Channel 9.
No, I mean, is it like PBS?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It was totally PBS.
Okay, that's what I was going for, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing where I didn't realize for a long time that they were like actually half-hour episodes, and you'd be watching, and then you'd be like 3 o'clock in the morning, and like, oh my god, this is never gonna end. It's really good, but I'm really tired.
Well, I just to jump in, I didn't realize that they were half-an-hour blocks until I got my first VHS of Doctor Who.
Oh wow.
Because on the VHS, they are broken down into the segments, and I had no idea. I'm just like, this is strange. So then when I watched, when I got the special edition version of Inferno, because I had only seen it as the mushed down to our thing, it's actually 6 episodes. I'm like, when's he gonna get to the other world? I just like, yeah, I mean, it really threw me that like PBS had mushed them and condensed a lot of the 6-parters into a 2-hour film.
Well, it's just disappointing because you'd get something and it'd be like 6 episodes on the tape or whatever, and you're like, oh, really, this is one show? Oh, I was thinking there was a lot more on here.
So now we're gonna jump to Maya.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So what was your first introduction to Doctor Who?
Well, back to aforementioned best friend. You know, because when you're in elementary school and you're the only other nerd, who else are you going to hang out with? Afternoons doing homework, and she would pop in the audios, and we would listen to Doctor Who audio while doing our homework.
The audios?
Yeah.
Because I've heard that like there were fans of the show during the 60s and 70s that would actually like put a microphone in front of their TV and save the audios, and that was how they were able to reconstruct some of the ones that were lost. But did they actually sell those individually or something?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're really, really expensive, and it's actually thanks to them that we actually do have the missing episodes. Because if it wasn't for those people that had done those recordings, we wouldn't even have those. We wouldn't have Marco Polo. We wouldn't have Mission to the Unknown. I mean, there's so many we would not have if it wasn't for those fans who did those recordings, and then once they realized everything was missing, were gracious enough to give them to the BBC. And then the BBC, which originally was Audio Go, released those audios, but that's gone defunct. So now it's really hard to get right now those audios either on CD or as MP3 files. But they were absolutely wonderful to listen to those missing episodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man. Because I remember I ended up checking out there was the Lost Episodes DVD at the library, and I checked it out, and they were talking about how. This one episode, I think it was, it wasn't the Web of Fear, it was the Abominable Snowman.
Yes.
The one with the second Doctor.
Yes.
Where there's a portion of the dialogue where for some reason the audio cuts out. And so they were able to sort of like, oh hey, someone put in a fan thing, and then we had to sort of reconstruct everything because the way that he says the name Victoria he had never actually said it before that way or something like that, and they had to splice things and do weird things to it, and then hey, here you go. And it was for like 5 seconds of audio, but it was just the amount of work that they put into it was really, really that was pure dedication.
Yeah. So Patricia, how did you come to Doctor Who?
Oh, well, it's always a friend, isn't it?
Those food pushers.
That's right. It was a couple friends that I had at school who they were like, you like Star Trek and you're watching this, what about Doctor Who? And I was like, what the heck is Doctor Who? So they made me like come over that weekend because it showed like I think every Saturday or something like that, and so they made me come over and watch it, and that was it. The first one that I saw, and that was the reason I was like, is this show ever going to end? Because it was Con Baker, and it was the one where you meet Davros.
The Genesis of the Dogs?
Yeah.
Yes, which is really. I'm
It's
bad with names, so you're my hero if you can supply them for me. I promise you.
It was like, what, 6 episodes?
Yeah, I think it's one.
And it was one of the ones that it did not condense because we really were up for 3 hours, and then I think there was like a drive going on at the same time.
No, that might be one of the 7. There were like 2 7-parters. One was Tales of Wing Chun, And it might be Genesis, might be the other one.
We were up until, because they were also doing a pledge drive, and they stopped in the middle and did the pledge drive for like a half an hour. I think we were up until almost dawn, but I was like, I'm gonna watch this because, you know, I'm like, they're climbing up this thing and doing all, and then they go to the pledge drive, and it's like, you're serious? No.
Yeah.
So if they had actually been doing the cliffhangers, I would have been very unhappy.
Tune in next week. Oh,
It's like, no, what are you doing? And I'm like that now when they do the two-parter. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And if it wasn't for the fact that I'd never make it another week without the internet or somebody I know spoiling the heck out of me, I just wait and watch them back to back. But
Yeah.
I don't like cliffhangers, I'm sorry.
Well, okay.
They're a good tactic, but I don't like them.
It was interesting that you guys, you know, when you guys were naming your doctors, you know, there was a nice diversity in, you know, classic and new Who stuff. So, how many of you, and this is going to be interesting, how many of you remember when they ended Doctor Who? I mean, how many of you were part of that sort of, they ended Who, and it was a sad, sad time? No?
I said the hamster. Sorry.
Yeah, ours at the time, they were keeping it pretty up to date with the Sylvester McCoy stuff, so we were hearing that it was coming, and it was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I just discovered this, and we went from Tom Baker to Sylvester McCoy because it was ending, and then you had to go back and watch all the others, and so I watched them like really out of order.
Okay.
I was not happy. I was like, I just found something, and now you're canceling it? Come on.
Okay, then jumping ahead to the TV movie, were any of you guys excited about that? Or, I mean, do you remember watching it on actually Fox when it aired?
Yes. I remember hearing about it and going, hey, Doctor Who, that sounds good. I probably hadn't remembered that I had seen it before or something like that. I hadn't really, I was like 7 or 8 when it happened, so it was just kind of, it didn't, oh, hey, I like that. And so I watched the movie and I was really excited about the movie and I liked the movie at the time. I haven't watched the movie again, but after like the rest of fandom is like, oh God, why? It was just kind of like, I'll be very quiet now. Okay.
I liked it. I liked it, and I was excited. We watched it that night, and I dragged like 3 or 4 people to watch it with me who'd never ever seen it, which is probably a mistake.
Oh no.
And then I had to watch it again another time because it was also the distraction factor of we live in the South, and there was this ginormous spider on the ceiling, and it kept following people, and they were all trying to freak out and get it. And I'm like, shut up! I'm watching Doctor Who. Who cares about the spider?
The doctor will save us.
Yes, it's like, it's fine. It's just a spider. Whatever, you know.
It's not big enough to take control of our brains.
Yeah.
This is not playing with spiders.
Yes.
Okay.
No, we're good. We're good. So I didn't hear half of it, so I had to watch it again. But we taped it, so I made them all leave and I watched it.
Did you see the TV movie when it came out?
I don't think I did. I don't think I saw it till much later.
Interesting. See, this is what I find fascinating, because I mean, I'm the Uber nerd. I mean, like, I consumed it all as it was coming along. So were any of you there when we got it back in, I think it was
2005?
Any of you guys start off with Rose shortly thereafter?
Oh no, I knew it was coming. I was ready. I was like, I sadly was like, Christopher Eccleston, who the hell is that? I seriously had no idea who he was, and then he got on there and was like, oh, it's the guy from the zombie movie. Okay. But I loved it. I mean, they hooked me from like the first couple minutes, so.
I wasn't in that fandom at the time. So it was just sort of like, oh, the Doctor Who nerds are exploding. That's nice. Okay, I'm off in this fandom doing something else. And then when I wandered innocently into traffic, known as Doctor Who, I was like, oh, okay. So it's been going on, and they've got a new Doctor and David Tennant. Okay, so yeah, let's try a new Doctor. I mean, I can't remember when I started watching the 9th Doctor. It was just sort of like, oh, hey, these are pretty good. But I didn't see the entire run. I wasn't we don't have BBC America at my house. So that was another factor. And it was just kind of...
Well, at the time, the BBC America wasn't even a factor because it was running on Sci-Fi at the time. And that was like 8 months later. I mean...
Yeah, I was really behind, and that was, well, I think that was why I knew it was coming, because like I said, I had 2 friends who live in England.
Yeah.
That's all we talked I was like, okay, it's coming, but I'm not going to get to see it for 6 months. Shut up.
What about you when it came to the new stuff?
I was really, really nervous about it, and I didn't really want to have anything to do with it, but it came on right before Battlestar Galactica. So I was like, okay, well, yeah, it's just like another extra hour in my day. And I watched like the first 5 or 6 with Eccleston, and I got to that, like, my childhood is bleeding point, and got frustrated with it and fed up, and then stopped watching. And then everybody kept talking about how awesome it was and trying to persuade me over and over, like, no, really, it's okay. They haven't betrayed your childhood. It's safe. You can watch this. And finally, I gave in. Anyway, it was actually really good. But
Wait, hang on. You managed 5 or 6 episodes before you hit the my childhood has been betrayed. What happened?
it might have been more than 5 or 6 episodes. I was just really.
What was the...
Was it his relationship with Rose
Yeah.
and he was
Okay.
obsessing over her?
Yeah, and then they were in love with each other, and then they weren't, and then it was back and forth, and I was just like, really, this is not how the Doctor behaves.
So
He was asexual before. He was a mentor figure. I mean, there might have been like a couple times where like okay, after the fact, I remember hearing about the newspaper articles at the time talking about, is there hanky-panky in the TARDIS with the 5th Doctor? And no, of course not. He's no matter what he looks like, he's still a mentor figure. And with Rose, it was the very first time of us seeing him. Wait, hang on. What is going on here?
That really disturbed me for a little, and then how they treated her with it, and I was just like, screw this, I'm out of here.
So did you actually make it to dialect before you gave up?
No.
Okay, because that was the one that I think,
yeah.
that was the episode that actually
was
we
the one that
finally
was
knew that this
solidified it.
was not a reboot or a
Yeah.
relaunch. This was a continuation. It was that episode where we started getting a sense that, okay, our childhood hasn't been betrayed. Because I was nervous. Even though we had the Autons in the first episode,
Yeah.
Classic Who Monster, it wasn't until we had the dialects and the talking about the past and the Cybermen head, those little things that really cemented that this is actually a continuation, not a relaunch, not a reboot. It's still our Doctor. But no, that's really fascinating because I actually that you've given up with it at the time.
That was actually the episode that cemented that he's my second favorite.
That was probably, I think, in a lot of people's minds, his best episode because he really showed his range of acting and
they wouldn't
emotion
have
of
the
the
most
character.
range, but I that whole thing where we were talking about before with the
Yeah.
Dalek was like you would make a good Dalek, and I was just like, okay, I like you.
Yeah. The doctor having that, you knew it was the Doctor, but at the same time, you knew that he was so damaged.
Yeah.
And it was just like, whoa, they changed, they flipped the script, but they flipped it in a good way.
Yeah. I keep losing this question. I keep on at this point because you keep saying so many wonderful things. No, it's perfectly fine. Oh no, I remember now. Yeah, I think what really bothered me with the whole Rose thing, it wasn't really the Rose thing, it's when they brought Sarah Jane back. As much as I love them bringing Sarah Jane back, they turned it into she was in love with the Doctor. And
you never had a
nowhere
sense
in
of
the
that.
3rd or 4th Doctor was there ever a sense of love.
No,
If there was
that was the thing that was weird.
If there was any sort of love, it was more like a love of maybe a love of a sibling or
Yeah.
it's your best friend or something.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my only problem. I had a few problems with that thing, but just having Sarah Jane and K-9 back just made me, I didn't care about all the flaws in that episode. But yeah, the only time they ever really actually mentioned that the Doctor might have been in a relationship with a companion was with Romana.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the same species,
Yeah,
same
because
everything.
That made no sense because they were peers.
But that was the
Right.
only set that I've ever seen. Now, I want to talk about when they actually literally brought Classic Who with New Who. Did any of you guys at the time see the Time Crash? That's when they brought Davison and Tennant together.
Oh, the little special thing.
Yeah.
it was like
Yes,
8
yes,
minutes long or
yes,
something.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was not glued to my TV at the time. I remember watching it well after the fact and going, oh, that's so awesome. Why was this not an episode? Those were my favorite episodes. Of all of the stories, the multi-doctors are wonderful. I think one of the times that they really got it right, despite the flaws in the actual plot, was the two doctors, because the two doctors and their companions are running around doing things. It's okay. The androgams are stupid. They are amazingly dumb. I'm just sitting there going, wow. Shock-eyed, please. Just wow. Just step off, step back. It's okay. No, just leave. But the interaction between the doctors, the interaction between the companions, they get flipped around and they're like, well, okay, so you're a doctor. Okay, well, we got to do with that now. Okay. That kind of thing, they got right. The rest of it,
No, I mean, that's an interesting way of looking at it. I mean, I've never heard anybody describe that episode like that. Because, I mean, as much as I love to see the two of them together, I thought that, they poorly used Trout, and I would have loved to see him more as the doctor and not as the thing trying to eat stuff, because he wanted to taste everything. But, I mean, my co-host Drew, he, even with the flaws, I think many times he says that's his probably favorite multi-doctor story. Because honestly, yeah, a lot of those times are my favorite. But what did you guys think about the time crash when when Classic Who actually physically meets New Who?
I was so excited to hear that it was going to be coming, and I did not say this, and there might have had to have been some sort of getting it off the internet because nobody showed it where it was, just so I could see it.
Well, I mean, the great thing is that was a Children in Need special, and that those always end up on YouTube right away on their official channel.
Right. It wasn't for a little bit, but that's okay. If it was some sort of like actual legitimate thing, I would have bought it too, because that's what I do. But no, I just, nobody had it, and I wanted to see it, and I was like, ooh, this is perfect. And it was just, I loved their interaction. Those two, and it's funny because it's like some doctors you could see, like if they got together, they would hate each other. Yeah. They would be like, oh my God, you're stupid, you shut up. But those two, I could see them being like best friends.
Well.
And it's funny, and I'm saying that even because at the time I had no idea, about the relationships and stuff.
Well, so. That's the relationship. If you don't know that Davison's daughter, Georgiana Moffat, married Tennant, and now they're one big happy family, and Davison now wants it to be a legacy thing where, his children end up on the, Tennant's and George's children up on the show and stuff like that, and just have this whole, because I had a chance to interview him, and he's like, it would be awesome, we will have the legacy of Doctor Who all within here, because Tennant was actually, Davison was Tennant's doctor, so that whole speech about, you're my doctor, that was all coming from the heart, and you could tell. Now, what did you think of that story?
I won't lie, I totally cried. When he said you were my favorite doctor, I totally got a little teary-eyed, and I don't know, it made you feel like everything was so connected, and I had this moment of like, of all the fandoms that I'm a part of, I feel like this is one that has really made an effort to include fans in the show, so getting to see how much of a fan Tennant was totally made up for any of the misgivings I'd ever had about him being the doctor.
Yeah, I knew that there was going to be the special. We had no idea at the time what the special was going to be, and when I saw that cuff, I screamed. I'm not gonna lie, because people that watch the show know that Davison's my doctor. I've had the chance to actually meet him and interview him and interact with him quite a bit, and we've become fairly good friends where we do chat, and seeing my doctor come back, and I had no idea. All we knew is that there was a special, and I don't think anybody was prepared, because I think they kept that. I'm gonna say this: one thing BBC does well is keep things under wrap until they actually air it. And I won't lie, I was almost in tears from start to finish. Every time I watch it, I get goosebumps, because you feel the love of the show. Coming out with Stephen Moffat's writing and both the performance of both the actors there. But yeah, it really got me. So let's talk about the next time that we really have Classic Who invade Doctor Who, which was, I mean, we've had little sneak bits, little tidbits here and there, but I would say Night of the Doctor.
Yes.
It was the next minisode that they did. Or I mean, not the next one, but the next big one they did that was a surprise. Are you guys familiar with Night of the Doctor? It was one of the prequels to the Anniversary. We get the return of somebody that nobody was expecting at all. You know what I'm talking about now?
Yeah, I was just thinking, what are you talking? Was this a Cyberman episode that I missed?
No.
No.
No. Night of the Doctor, and it's the funny thing is it's. I actually saw it before people in England saw it because they had to race to release it because it was about to be leaked. Because it was supposed to be for children in need, and then the thing they did for children in need was absolutely horrible. But strangely enough, it was also the actor's birthday.
Oh.
Yes,
nice.
it was the actor's birthday. And I'm being a little mysterious here because I can every once in a while. We have the return.
Wait, hang on. Isn't he born in November?
No,
December. Oh.
no, it was the day. It was his actual birthday. Who we're talking about is McGon, who only ever had one appearance, though he's actually considered the longest running Doctor. Because of the Wilderness Years, when we had no Doctor Who, he was a Doctor for the comics, for the novels, for tons of stuff. So what did you guys think about his inclusion in the 50th? Because a lot of people were a little disappointed when we got the first part of Name of the Doctor, where we had the little clips, where we see him for that brief second at the back of the head. But we actually get actual canonized McGon. That way, nobody could actually say that the TV movie didn't happen, even with its flaws. We actually get McGon. So how do you feel about McGon returning to the role of the Doctor?
Okay. Well, sorry, I wasn't sure if I should jump in again.
Go.
Okay, I will just jump in and go.
Yeah.
Okay. For all of its flaws, for all of the people complaining, the TV movie made him half human and all kinds of weird stuff and whatever. Okay, fine. I still considered him a Doctor. And when I heard about it, I was like, no, wait, really? And so I ended up watching it. I know that I wasn't watching it on TV. I'm pretty sure I was watching it on my computer. I just can't remember where or when. Or it's not like the day that JFK was shot that I remember every single detail. But it was just like I watched it and I'm like, yay. Yeah, and not only that. Okay, I did not read the novels. I did not read the comic books. I didn't see anything really. I wasn't aware of Doctor Who after '96, so I was just So I wasn't as invested in him. I had heard of the Big Finish line where they do give him stories and they do give him more character development and stuff like that, and that's amazing. But I never listened to it, so it was. I knew that he mentions the Sisterhood of Karn, and it's from one of them.
Brain of Mobius.
The
the Renegade Time Lord from Baker.
From Baker.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sisterhood of Karn, he mentions it, and then it's just sort of like, I know that's a reference. That sounds really awesome. I can tell it's a reference. And then just the fact that he makes the decision to. No, this time I need to be somebody else. I need to be a warrior. And then he turns into John Hurt. That was, at the time I was like, John Hurt!
Oh my God!
But retrospectively, it's kind of, I almost wish that Paul McGann had almost been in Day of the Doctor. Just to give him yet another exposure to fans and all that kind of stuff. But I can understand why they might want to. It's the War Doctor, despite I consider him Doctor 8.5 because the numbering is set in stone and he's 8.5. That's okay. But yeah, I was really excited and I was just like, oh my God, she killed herself. Instead of being saved by him. Yeah. Holy poop. What? I was cursing a lot more, but it was whoa! That is hardcore. I wanted to know you, Chicky, but oh my God. Whoa, that was hardcore.
It made me wish that we'd had more stuff with him on screen.
Yes.
He's where he got to that point, and once again, I know of some of the audio stuff and all that, but I don't know what all they've done. If you could have had the year or something leading up to that with him playing it, I think that would just be awesome. He just, I don't know, he looked so tired and everything, and you were just like, you could kind of feel like everything that had come up to that point. I think for something that was 8 minutes long. it had a lot of weight to it.
I was really happy that they brought him back, and I once again, I totally cried. Like when she decided to kill herself instead of let him save her, I think I was sitting there going, "Oh my God, Doctor!" You know, like you do. But it was good.
I'll say this is another one of those moments where I heard the voice, because they specifically let you hear the voice. I'm just like, no, because like I said, I saw this before people in England because they did not realize this had been released. I'm just like, no. And then when he says a line, "I guess I'm not the doctor you were expecting," I was just like,
Goosebumps.
and I'm a big fan of the audios, the Big Finish audios. If you've never listened to the Big Finish audios, you need to, because they do something very, very important, not just for McGon, but for Colin Baker. Because if there's one actor that got the biggest raw deal on Doctor Who, it was Colin. He never got a chance to actually become the Doctor, in my opinion. Lots of factors behind that, very ugly history, but he shines in those Big Finish audios because Colin was starting to get his feet when they were doing Trial of the Time Lord, but he never gets a chance to really run with it. But those Big Finish audios are absolutely incredible. And then you get the Eighth Doctor audios, and oh my God, they are just, again, absolutely incredible, because you had people that loved the show doing the show. I mean, doing the audios. I mean, you have people like Gatiss working on it. You have Nicholas Briggs. You have all these people that work on the show now that actually wrote novels and stuff like that during that time, during when we had No Who, that do the Big Finish stuff. And the chance that they gave these guys a chance to be the Doctor, because when they start listing on, when McGon starts listing off his companions, I'm like, oh my God, that's the audio, that's the comics, that's the novels. It's in that moment, Moffat made everything that these people that helped carry the torch canon. And you can't argue the fact that it is not canon anymore, and it should be considered canon, because the quality of what they're putting into these audios are absolutely amazing. And if you're going to start with anything, I mean, start with the McGon stuff or any of the multi-Doctor stuff, because it's wonderful to hear all these Doctors interact. And the Big Finish Light at the End, which is their big 50th anniversary thing, is just absolutely wonderful. Getting all these classic Doctors, getting Baker back, and stuff like that. And now Baker loves being the Doctor again, Tom Baker, because for a while there he was like, I want nothing to do with you. But he's now back in love with the role and stuff like that. But yeah, treat yourself to some of the Big Finish, because from time to time they put them on sale for download for like $1. I mean, for an hour's worth of entertainment, it's well worth those audios.
I'm trying to remember the website. It's something like alienentertainment.com. Oh, geez, I'm gonna have to Google it when I get home now. They sell Big Finish audios, and they will send it to you.
Yeah. You can also buy the Big Finish audio straight from Big Finish. It takes a little bit longer because they're actually posting from England. But the cool thing, if you buy the physical copy from them, you get a copy of their free magazine Vortex. It's kind of cool to get. But yeah, no, the Big Finish audios are just absolutely incredible. Now I want to talk about the 50th anniversary. Happy, sad, excited. What did you think about the 50th? Because I mean, that was really a culmination of the meeting of classic and New Who and marrying them. I mean, I think really marrying the two together. Go right ahead. I'm having a blast.
It's to borrow from my iPad. There was that whole thing where they were, and he was gonna do it, and they were like, no, you don't have to do it alone. And I'm just like, I'm like, oh my God, why do I watch these? But now I love the interaction, the three of them together.
Yes.
When I was laughing so hard at some points. I was like, oh my God. The things that they would say to each other and about each other, I was like, yeah, this is pretty much how I pictured that they would interact. I don't know, what was I trying to think of? I love the interaction. There were several moments that just, flat out had me crying, or just overly emotional, or just like yay or whatever. But it, as much as I loved it, I almost thought it was like too easy that he saved, after all of that he saved Gallifrey and made a different decision and rewrote history. But that's I know it's not.
No. I would argue the point that he did not rewrite history. I mean, because everything still happened the way it happened. he just didn't realize it happened that way.
Right.
There was no, if you really look at everything, they never rewrote anything.
Yeah, well, and I can't even say that I'm unhappy with it until I find out what's going to happen in the future, which is why I would never say, I'm not, it just seemed like a little too, it's, to borrow a D&D thing that we used to do when we were running a game, it's the blue bolt from heaven of no, do it that way.
The movie and version of Red Matter.
It was the one where we would have people who were LARPing and they couldn't follow the rules, and we'd say, "You're dead," and they'd say, "Why?" And I'd say, "Because I'm the game master." That's why. Ta-da, blue bolt, you're dead. And I know that it's one of those things that is possible as they do stuff in the future, because this very often happens with Doctor Who, classic or new. I might be thinking, oh, what the heck? And then, like a half a season later, I'm like, oh, that was brilliant, So it could still turn out that way. I don't know what I was expecting, but that wasn't it.
Have you seen the Christmas special yet?
Yeah, like last night.
Okay.
I told you that.
Yeah, I was just making sure we were talking about Christmas.
Yeah. No, like I told him, I realized last night that if I was doing this panel, I probably should watch the latest episode. Just thinking.
Okay. Because I've very only slightly blundered out of Doctor Who, so I haven't been like on top. I haven't been breathing down everybody's neck, going Christmas special. Where is it? And it's just so I have not seen the Christmas special. Everyone keeps talking about the Christmas special, and they mean like 6 different Christmas specials or something.
Yeah.
It's just like
I always refer to the last one. Or I could honestly say, I mean, this is no big secret, the regeneration episode.
I saw the actual regeneration itself. Apparently, I don't know if it's Tumblr or if it's just fandom in general, but they call it like the most powerful sneeze ever, where he's just like, and then there he is. Okay. Hi there. Hello. But back to the Day of the Doctor. I really loved it. Me and my friend Adam, we were best friends in high school. He ended up moving all the way. He moved all the way to Arizona. He was visiting his family for the holidays, and we were there. And he was like, "Hey, come over to my house and we'll watch Doctor Who." And we're there. We're sitting in the recliners, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm ready." No, I'm not ready. Let's go. Okay. And so we end up watching it together, and there's times where his parents are trying to go to sleep, and I'm just like, oh my god! Oh! Burn! Oh! What? Oh! Peter Capaldi's eyes! Oh my god! I just completely, yes, my feels were all over the place, and then it was like, Tom Baker, Tom!
Yeah.
Tom!
That was the other big moment was when he showed up. It was just like, I was the scream, like,
Yeah.
No, I think I knew he was in there, but it didn't matter.
I did it, yeah.
It didn't matter, he showed up and I was like,
I was rather surprised at Tom Baker showing up, because I thought that, like, okay, yeah, everybody's going to recognize Tom. But at the same day that Day of the Doctor came out, the 5-ish Doctors came out too. And I saw that, I can't remember if I saw it before or after. And so it was just kind of like, well, this is amazing. This is definitely like a tribute to Classic Who, and they're trying to get involved in it, and it's not working. Okay, but then like Tom Baker shows up, and I'm like, why aren't you with these guys? No, it's okay. But I was as soon as I saw him, I was like, Tom. Hey, Tom. He's apparently a curator in a museum now, but that's okay. That's okay. Oh God, my feels. And Adam's like, are you okay? No, I will never be okay. How very dare you? I will never be okay. So.
okay, Bianca needs to come watch Doctor Who with me because it sounds like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I just wanted to do an interview with just her and just, pick her brain and stuff. Because you're so animated. You'd be a wonderful person to interview. So what did you think about Day of the Doctor?
I absolutely loved it, every minute of it, and particularly the chemistry between the three of them. Like when he's like, "Oh, you must be his companions," and like the looks on their faces, I was just like, Yes, finally somebody does that to the doctor. But yeah, no, the whole thing, I loved the conversations about the weapon and her little snarky comments that nobody else heard. I just totally made it.
I think that was Billy Piper at her best. I mean, I love her as Rose, but I'll tell you, she had way too much fun with that role.
Yeah. Oh my God, she was
That
so
was-
good at it.
Yeah.
That was really good.
So, real quick, how did you saw it on TV? Did you?
I saw it on DVD.
Okay, that's fine.
I tell it
But it's
came
on
out.
TV. How did you see it?
DVR.
Okay, see, I was lucky. I got to see it with 2 live audiences. I saw it first at a local coffee shop, and literally it was me and my co-host squeeing most of the time over this or that. And then we did that Monday night when they put it on the big screen in 3D. We saw it again. But we were still, even though we had seen it once or twice between that Saturday and that simulcast to that thing, just seeing it again with a bunch of people and actually some people had waited and had not seen it until that moment. It was something magical because they brought all sorts of fans together that were Doctor Who fans. Okay.
I would like to see it that way just because I think it would be kind of like, I don't know about anybody else, but and this is a little bit aside, but I'm a big Batman fan and always have been. And when we saw Batman Begins, there was this lady in the audience who had brought her kids and obviously had no idea who Batman was, what the story was, whatever. And at the end, at the fire, when he pulled the stethoscope out and all that, and she was like crying and like just going off about this, and oh my God, I was like, oh no, you're a Batman fan. I kind of feel like it would be that way in a big audience, even if you're not a big Who fan. When you see it with that many people who are, and it's a good show, maybe you would be.
It's sort of like, I'm not a fan, I love Monty Python, but I've never been a fan of Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail. I never got why people loved it so much.
Right.
But then I saw it in a theater with a bunch of people that were just loving it, and I could not help myself but love it. But the cool thing is it actually, we might actually get more Doctor Who on the big screen, because it actually beat out that weekend, that one-day sales of The Hunger Games, or whatever movie that was. It blew away box offices they never suspected, especially here in the States. So I wouldn't mind seeing more Doctor Who on the big screen. Even if it's just an episode or something like Christmas special or whatever. So we get the regeneration. Some of you have seen it, some of you hadn't. The entire episode. What were your feelings about Smith leaving? Because we're now at a cusp of something changing, of the entire thing changing. I won't lie, I knew exactly this entire time people were worried about, how are they going to continue Doctor Who? It's this last regeneration. I've been this entire time saying, the 5 Doctors, people, the 5 Doctors. It's canon. They offered the Master 5 whole new life cycle. Right. If he would help the Master, if he'd help the Doctor. Come on, it's been there for years. And honestly, there's a moment at the very beginning where they foreshadow with, I stole this from the Master in the Death Zone, the Seal of Rassilon. I'm like, bingo! And of course, that's what people that watch the show know I ran everything about this and love this, that I was right this entire time. But okay, we do have this regeneration. We had a very touching regeneration because nobody knew that we had Kieran Gillen coming back or anything like that. Mm-hmm. They were both bald for that scene.
Yeah, both wearing wigs.
They were both wearing wigs. But we have the end of Smith. I mean, how do you feel about the end of Smith? Because this is the newest Doctor that we're losing. How do you feel about it?
Well, Matt Smith, I really did like Matt Smith because there were a lot of elements with him where he deliberately sort of harkened back to Trout. He had actually, when he got the role, he ended up watching Tomb of the Cybermen. He was basically squealing for 20 minutes to Stephen Moffat going, oh my God, this is so awesome. So of course, like they were originally gonna stick him in a pirate suit or something like Jack Sparrow, and he was like, no. And so he ended up doing something very similar to Troughton. So I ended up liking him already at the start of it, and now that he's gone, it's kind of a little weird because with each of the Doctors, I got into the show and I'm like, oh, okay, so he regenerates. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see. There's not going to be anything more with Smith unless there's another multi-Doctor thing, but at the same time, better that he go out on a high note rather than, do I have to watch him again? Why? Can somebody else have a turn now, please?
It's funny because they have a thing on the internet that does the life cycle of the regeneration of the fans' reaction. Oh my God, no, you can't ever replace so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. And then they get there and it's like, well, that was kind of a clover, but I'm still not going to like them. And then, well, wait, maybe, oh my God, they're the best doctor ever.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
I can say, I didn't have to go through that as much with the classic guys because I already knew who they were. They were already out. But I had done that with, it was like, okay, well, I had no idea who he was.
Yeah.
I had no idea who Christopher Eccleston was. The only thing that I had seen Tennant in was the 5 seconds he was in Harry Potter. And it took me like 3 episodes of watching him and going, where have I seen him before? Before I went, oh, hey, it's Barney Crouch Jr., gotcha. But I had done that every time. It's been like, oh, I don't know. Am I gonna? And now that I've liked through, I'm like, I'm just gonna have to go with it. They know what they're doing, and I'm probably gonna like it. So.
I honestly didn't cry nearly as much as I did over Tennant and Eccleston.
Yeah.
And I don't, but I felt like he was so much more supported and surrounded by love when he regenerated that I didn't feel quite as sad for him as I did for the other two. Like, there was still sadness, but I was okay with it. I felt like it was his time, and, you know, he had a good life, he got to age, like, you know. It was okay.
He was more accepting of it, and it wasn't like
Yeah.
Tennant where he was saying, I don't want to go,
And
I'm
I
not
think that's
ready
part
to
of
go,
it,
and you're
too.
like, oh my God.
Yeah, I was okay with it because he was okay with it.
And the one with Eccleston, it was just, I mean, and you knew it was because he wasn't coming back because of other issues, but the whole thing where it was like, you know, and it'll be here, but it won't be me, and it was like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, those two just had those like go-outs that ripped your heart out.
I'm pretty sure a few of us have that as a ringtone.
Yes, a couple of us jumped going, but I put my phone on silent,
Yeah.
I swear.
Exactly. It's like, but it should start out with, you know, thank you for calling IT. It's like, wait, what? Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll say this so far with Eccleston's regeneration was perfect. With, you know, just that ending that he had, because it felt like Tennant, you know, he wasn't going to leave. He was going to give 1 year to Moffat, but he realized if he stayed with Moffat, he was never going to leave the role.
Right.
And that's, I think, also part of where that line comes from. I don't want to go, but he wanted to. And they only filmed 3 regeneration scenes with him, like 3 takes.
Really?
With Smith, and I can't wait for the DVDs, they filmed a bunch. Some were much more violent, some were much more brutal. I can't wait to see those. And he was actually surprised by the one they chose. So we have now Capaldi. What do you think about Capaldi? And I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen any of the pictures or any of his new outfits.
I have.
So what do you feel? What do you think?
It's interesting because with Capaldi, they're definitely harkening back to a bit of the Third Doctor.
Well,
He doesn't have the massive crossbow rocking on, but he's got the coat, he's got the sensible boots going on.
Capaldi was a huge fan,
Right.
and his doctor was
The
their
Third
doctor.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a bit more sense.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, wait a second, really? Because I got tricked by the photo manipulation that somebody did of it was one of the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. and he's doing his shirt's kind of ripped up and he's doing something with his hand and of course they photoshopped but they did a really good job of photoshopping Peter Capaldi's face and I was like, I could get behind that doctor and then I'm looking at it on the computer at work and then one of the pages walks up. You do know that's a photo manipulation, right? It's like, no. Really?
I was like, and now somebody's done that. That should, you know,
Yeah.
they should do it.
Yeah. And then I actually saw the picture and I was like, okay. And then I immediately look at his shoes because it was just kind of like, because I remember hearing about an interview that Sophie Aldred did when the show was coming back and she was like, okay, if you're going to be a companion, wear sensible shoes. You're going to be running everywhere. Don't wear heels. Just wear a good sensible pair of boots. And then I look down, yes, he's wearing boots. This is good. Okay, he's not one of the companions who's going to fall down tripping and screaming, oh doctor, because he is the doctor, then he can be screwed, but yes, it makes him look taller just the long coat and okay, that works for me. I'm just happy that they went old again. Thank God, because I was just like, okay, when is this one going to be a teenager now? Come on. I'm so used to the Doctor being in his 50s, in his 40s or something, and you know, him being able to reinforce the mentor aspect with just, you can't ship them because he's old, because apparently old people cannot be shipped together.
Despite the fact that even though I look like David Tennant, he was 900 years old, so that's pretty darn senior citizen.
It's senior citizen, but at the same time, all of the fangirls are going, David Tennant's so dreamy, let's ship him with the master, and like, it happens.
No, I know it did. I know it did.
happens.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Only if it's Sir Richard Delgado Doctor, or Master.
Delgado Master, apparently, I would have been more inclined to I need to watch more Delgado Master just to see, because
It's incredible.
just the fact that the two actors were such good friends and they were able to play off each other so well and create that kind of antagonism.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to see more.
It's incredible.
Yeah. But yes, I'm glad that they went with an old Doctor, because if you go back to Classic Who, it's older Doctors, except for Peter Davison, who you want to pat on the head and give a cookie. Here, and here are your 12 companions. Just go. And also, please stop killing everyone. He's got one of the highest body counts in his stories. It sucks. He's so sweet and innocent, and then half your people are dead. You're like, what's going on? Why? And then TARDIS is gone. You're left with all the wreckage. Sorry.
I think it's funny because I'm back again too. I know as much British stuff and everything as I watch. I don't know Dr. David.
Peter
Capaldi. Thank you.
Actually, it's funny you almost said you
I almost said David Capaldi.
because it almost got ruined on the special because 3 people knew who the Doctor was.
Oh.
One of them accidentally said he was trying to say Peter Davison or something or something or David Tennant. He said Peter and almost gave away that it was Peter Capaldi.
Oh.
So yeah, it was kind of crazy.
But I think I actually like it that I don't know the people who are coming in as the Doctor, because that lets me not have any preconceived how they're going to act. You know, when they talk about like, let's do this and let's bring in this big name or da-da-da. And I know that over in Britain they are a bigger name and people know who this, but to me it's like, I don't know these people. That makes me able to go, hey, let's see exactly where they go.
I think that's an interesting fact because a lot of people say, let's get the guy who plays House. I forget what his name is off the top of my head. Hugh Laurie. But they want Hugh Laurie playing House as a Doctor.
No.
But that's not, that's not who they're going to get. It's, people associate people with roles, especially here in the States, and they're like, oh, Hugh Laurie as Dr. House as a Doctor would be amazing. But I mean, yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I might know the names, but I don't expect them to play a character they played before as a Doctor. I'd be disappointed in that.
Yeah, they actually fell into that trap with Peter Davison, because Davison was so popular as Tristan on All Creatures Great and Small.
I think he's the only one that I ever knew anything about.
Yeah, he was the most
as a Doctor.
He was the most famous person to ever take over the role, and he was already I don't want to say playboy, but a heartthrob.
Yep.
He was the only
cute.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like 29 when he took the role.
Yeah, he was at the time the youngest Doctor of all time.
Yeah, he was cute. I would have cut his hair a little bit, but that's just me. But yeah, it was basically they were sticking him in a role, and what's hilarious, somebody, I wish I could remember where it was from. Somebody was talking about Frontios specifically. Frontios was apparently written for the 4th Doctor, and you can tell that it was written for the 4th Doctor because the Doctor says completely different things than from his other stories. And Peter Davison, you can sort of see in Frontios that he's just so happy to have other stuff.
Yeah.
And again, it's unlike his other stories, and I mean I need to see it again.
Yeah.
But it was just somebody mentioned it, and I was like, wow, really?
Yeah, part of it's G&T's fault because G&T saw him on All Creatures Great and Small, worked with him there, and that's sort of how he got the role.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you think about Capaldi?
I was actually really, really happy. I did like that he reminded me of the 3rd Doctor and that he was getting older, and I don't know, it brought up the nostalgia feeling of childhood of like, yes, this is the Doctor as I remember him, and this is going to be really awesome. And I have to admit, I take a certain amount of pleasure in all the little fangirls. They were huge Tennant shippers being like, no, pussy! And I'm like, yeah, I got my Doctor back.
Well, I mean, I think one of the greatest things about Doctor Who in general is that it's a show about change. You know, and honestly, what a lot of people don't realize is Capaldi right now is only signed for 1 season. He does have the option for more, but of course you got to remember, like we were saying, like you said, he's a star. He's a star over there, and you know, I think this might be one of the reasons why he has a 1-year contract. 1, his schedule.
Right.
2, the fans totally reject him, which I don't think is going to be the case. Or 3, Moffat has a story he wants to tell in 1 season, with a 1-season Doctor. But I mean, if anything, it's him being famous over there and other roles that he might want to do. But I hope we get him for like 2-3 years. I mean, I want him for a while. Because with the coming of a new Doctor means we might also get different stories. I love Smith as a Doctor. He sold me from his very first episode, which never happens with the Doctor, especially in New Who. But I mean, we have a chance of totally new storytelling. And they keep claiming darker, classic, you know, that's fine. I don't want a fairy tale again. I want something new, I want something different, I want something shiny. And that's what you get with Doctor Who, and I think that's why it's lasted 50 years, is that it isn't stuck in a certain format. Because you will get new writers, we'll get new people in charge, and I think that's why the show has survived as long as it has. And not only did it come back, it came back amazingly well and became a worldwide phenomenon.
I think it's a brilliant format that you can have the same characters, so you can keep all the same experiences and you can keep all the same canon, but you don't have to stick with the same cast. Because that always allows you to shake it up without getting rid of all the things that you like.
And the funny thing, it was a gamble too. Most people don't realize that they were like, they had to get rid of Hartnell for, you know, many different reasons why, everything from health to him with an ego. But it was a gamble that they brought in Troughton. And then, you know, they thought it was going to end after the second Doctor because of going from black and white to color. And that's the reason why Spearhead from Space is the only Doctor Who actually filmed on celluloid, on film. Everything else was filmed on tape.
Oh, wow.
And that's the reason why if you look at the transfer, it is absolutely gorgeous. And that's why everybody left the show at the time and they were war games, because they were, you know, this was a gamble. But I mean, it's always a gamble when you switch over, but I think those first couple of regenerations where you're still dealing with what's happening in the industry, you know, taking a gamble with health reasons, with changing your lead actor, which was unheard of, I mean, just adds to everything with the show. Now we're sort of at the end of our time. I wish we had another hour or so, because I would love to talk Doctor Who. Any final words, really quick, about Doctor Who, why you're a fan, and all that jazz?
Oh, jeez. It's just it's a show about change. Aside from the multi-Doctor stories, my favorite stories to rewatch are the regeneration. Like, just after he's regenerated, and then you see him just completely trying to figure things out. So, like, every Doctor has that period of adjustment, and it kind of mirrors the fan experience, where it's just kind of, do I want to like you? Sir. Okay, come on, be the Doctor. Be the Doctor to me. Okay, you did a Doctor thing. Good job. Keep going. Okay, I can deal with you now. Okay, we've lasted the season. It's a good season. Let's go. Let's keep going. So yeah, it's just kind of Doctor Who. Even though I sort of wander from fandom to fandom, Doctor Who is always kind of a touchstone. So I always end up going, ooh, something new is happening. Let's go back. And ooh, let's see what Peter Capaldi does. So I'm really even oh, that reminds me. In the Five Doctors, it mentions that, but it also River Song ends up giving her like a bunch of regenerations to the Doctor.
We don't know that.
It's in one of the episodes that I never saw.
No, they know. She heals them.
But
they never say.
Yeah, it was like a fan theory that was how he was going to get more regenerations, was because she gave him all of
Yes. Which then means, because the thing is, she's a human that was born in the TARDIS. You actually don't know how many regenerations she even had.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. It's one of those big mysteries that Moffat just leaves out there.
And then he left out there because then it's something he can use in the future.
Exactly.
Be like, hey, but this is where that came from.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. These were supposed to be party remarks.
Yes.
I love Doctor Who.
It's that same thing. It's all about the change. So there's always going to be something new. There's always going to be new angles, and yet still keeping the classic stuff. So that, there's always going to be new ways of telling it without you having to like completely reboot it. As much as I love the new Star Trek, it's a reboot, and it's not quite the same.
I gotta change my theory about that then.
Okay, well, hold on. But at the same time, and this goes back to what you were saying with the mentor relationships, is the one thing I've always liked about it, and I can't say this with 100% certainty because I haven't seen a lot of like the really, really early ones. Even though he was a mentor relationship, it was a very manipulative. It's always been very, and that's probably why I like Sylvester McCoy the best, because it was like, I'm happy-go-lucky. Oh, look, I made you go over here and do this, and you're this big chessboard. It's always been that way. You're never, even though he might have, I will go with, I will go with, yes, there's a possibility he could have had feelings for Rose because he did have a grandkid. There has been some, there was River, and so he is capable of that. But Rose would never be a peer. She would always be a chess piece. Mm-hmm. So it would not be a good relationship, and it's better for her to not be there.
For me, I think it's about the variety. I mean, how many other shows can you deal with the ancient past and the far distant future and have them all together in one?
Yep.
I mean, it's really simplistic and beautiful in that. And from a sociology standpoint, I think as a child what attracted me to it was that Doctor Who has always had really strong female leads and really good female characters, even at a time when that wasn't very popular in television.
Yep.
So that was always really important to me, and I think probably influential.
Well, cool. Well, I want to thank you guys for being on this panel, my chance to pick the brains of females. And the fandom in the show, because I've never really had this opportunity, which is great. I would love to do it again, because I mean, you all brought something different to it. And I'd like to thank you guys for coming up, taking an hour of your time to come up here and talk about Doctor Who. And so this is GPR signing off until next time, where we are going to supposedly review 10th Planet and a bunch of other stuff that is probably not going to happen until another episode, which is our running gag. So until next time, this is GPR signing off, and peace. Bye!